How to become a real estate agent in Hampton Roads, Virginia, 2022. So, hey everybody, my name is Jason Gooden. I'm a managing broker with Long and Foster Real Estate here in southeastern Virginia. And a good friend of mine and mentor recently put out a video talking about how to get a real estate license and what to expect going forward. And so I thought the information was fantastic. The only problem I had with it, not even a real problem, is that he is in California. And so, I wanted to maybe localize the content just a little bit because there are some distinct differences between California and Virginia. So I'm going to try to represent the content that he shared, and I'll put a link to his original content in this description below. But I wanted to try to bring this home a little bit to southeastern Virginia specifically, especially when we start talking about some of the fees associated with getting a real estate license. Because, as you know, in real estate, location is key. And of course, it has a big plays a big part in the fees associated with getting a real estate license. So that being said, I appreciate it if you want to give me a thumbs up, give me a like, give me a comment, something, and hopefully you'll get something useful out of this video. So, what is a real estate agent? To begin the discussion. A real estate agent is someone who has passed the test, essentially, and so it's someone who has taken the state required principles of real estate or pre-licensing education class and passed an exam administered by the state of Virginia. And so that person is then licensed and able to represent buyers and sellers legally in the sale of real property or real estate, as we refer to it. And so that is, in essence, what a real estate agent is. And what does a real estate agent normally make nationally? Last year, the average real estate agent made about $51,000 a year. So some real estate agents make millions of dollars a year. Most real estate agents make absolutely nothing, zero. But on average, $51,000 a year. But here's what I can say to that. You will get out of real estate exactly what you put into it. There's no ceiling, and there's no floor. So, what are the hours? A lot of people want to know, what are the hours? Because some people come into this business thinking we have flexibility over our schedule, which we do. One of the benefits of being in real estate is the flexibility that you have. And one of the negatives about being in real estate is the flexibility that you have. So if you're coming into real estate with the mindset that 9 to 5, is your schedule, I think, in my opinion, you would be sadly mistaken. I have often referred to us in this business as professional accommodators. So, and what I mean by that, of course, is that we have to be accommodating to our clients' schedules. And so if our clients work from 9 to 5, then there's a really good chance that we're going to work outside of those hours when showing property or discussing listing the sale of their home, or on the weekends, we've got to run around and see 4, 5, 6 houses on Saturday, sometimes Sunday even. So the hours are completely and utterly non-standard. It's one of the first things that I think surprise people, is that you literally are working around other people's schedules, especially in the beginning. Especially when you're just getting started. There are times when we're showing property and it's 8 o'clock outside, and we're holding our cell phone flashlights, because somebody got off work late, and so it's running late. We're writing offers, we're texting, we're communicating with other agents and clients, or inspectors at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night sometimes. So it's not necessarily the norm, but don't come into this business with the mindset that from 9 to 5 are business hours, because I think that would definitely be a mistake. So how do you get started in real estate? So you've heard these warnings and you say, I'm going to do it anyway. How do you get started? Well, in the state of Virginia, you're required to complete a 60-hour, 60 hour Principles of Real Estate class. You can either do that online or in person. So there are several locations around Hampton Roads that will offer those classes in person. I know, the company that I work for, we do primarily online classes, and so we can, obviously put you in touch with, whomever you might need to go to get that information. But 60 hours of Principles of Real Estate is what's required. Some places charge more than others. I've seen it as high as $350 for that class, and I've seen it as low as $99 for that class. So you might want to look around a little bit. I know the company Long and Foster charges $199 for that online class. So yeah, kind of in the middle there, in the middle of the road. So that's what you've got to do. It was interesting, I thought, when he pointed out that in California you have to do a 135-hour class, Principles of Real Estate, and in Colorado, 160 hours of pre-licensing education. Pretty crazy. But for you here in Virginia, it's only 60 hours of pre-licensing education required before you can go and sit for the state exam. Now, of course, once you've completed that exam, assuming you've passed the test, then you'll have an additional 30 hours of licensing education. We call it post-license education that you'll have to complete within the first 12 months of activating your license. And then, of course, you're going to have an additional 16 hours of licensing education to complete every 2 years after that. So the learning never stops, and we can never, ever learn too much. So it's kind of cool. So what's the difference, some people ask, between a realtor, some people say realtor, that's not right. It's realtor or realtor. So what's the difference between a realtor and a real estate agent? So some people aren't necessarily aware that there is a distinction, but realtors belong to the National Association of Realtors, and they subscribe to a very rigorous code of ethics, and they're held to this higher code of ethics and standard of practice. So you're not required to be a realtor. It does cost a little extra money to be a realtor and to call yourself a realtor. But there are many benefits, including our code of ethics, and there are some association type of benefits that come along with that. Obviously, it costs a little bit extra to be a realtor versus an agent. There are about 1.5 million realtors in the United States, and there are about 200,000, was it? No, it was 2 million. So a little bit more than that are real estate agents. So when you put it all together, probably looking at, maybe 3.5-ish million licensees in the country. So there's a bunch of us. I know there are about 7,000 agents in Hampton Roads, Virginia. So competition is fierce, as you might expect it to be. But in Hampton Roads, if you wanted to be a realtor, which I am, I think most of us are, it's roughly $680 a year, not counting your application fees of about $300. So we belong to what we call the Hampton Roads Realtors Association, and there are many associations. There is the Virginia Peninsula Realtor Association, or Association of Realtors, I should say, VPART, over on the peninsula. But a lot of people, I think Hampton Roads Realtors Association encompasses a larger geographic area, and so the membership is a little bit larger. And so it's $680 a year to be a realtor in southeastern Virginia or thereabouts. Prices may vary depending on where you are specifically and which association you join. Um, so yeah, application fees are about $300. So doing business can be, yeah. So tax deductible, right? So most of the time, this membership fee is tax deductible. So you definitely have that working in your favor. Obviously, check with your local tax person because that's definitely not me. I've struggled in that area for quite a while. So what will help you get started? The biggest thing I think is to work on your mindset, right? Because for most people, this business is so much different than they expected coming into it. It's, I think, a lot more challenging than most people expected it to be, especially if you come into this with your experience in life thus far has been, you go to school from 7 to 3, and then you get a job, and you go to work from 9 to 5, right? So if that's what you were used to, oh, and by the way, you get a check every week, or every couple of weeks, or every month. If that's been your experience thus far in life, then this is going to be a challenge. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's going to be a challenge. And the personalities, right? You're going to meet people that aren't like you. You're going to meet people that don't talk like you. They don't think like you. They don't walk like you. They don't act like you. And some of those people can be offensive. Tonality matters sometimes. And so you're going to meet some people that you just might not relate to. That's okay. You know, there's plenty of people out here for all of us. So be prepared for that. Be prepared to know when this could work, this relationship could work, and when maybe it's best to not continue to nurture that relationship. So I think that's a good piece of advice there. I think it's a good idea to constantly feed yourself with positive and uplifting and inspiring information. So great books, great movies, great whatever you're into, whatever makes you feel good. I think that's really, really important to continue to do that on a very regular and consistent basis, because there are people in this business, both agents, brokers, brokerages, and clients, and just the general public. Some people will bring you down. And so you need to constantly feed yourself positive energy and inspiration and encouragement and motivation. So I can recommend some books and things to help you do that. So I think that's definitely definitely good advice. So upsides and downsides. The next question was, what are some of the upsides and downsides to this business? Well, I've already mentioned one. Flexibility. Flexibility is a huge upside, but flexibility is also a huge downside. And so maybe some others might be the money, right? There's no ceiling to how much money you can make. There's no floor either. You're not an employee. You're paid directly in proportion to your own efforts. You don't necessarily need an office. Well, I prefer having an office. I'm a big fan of the brick and mortar model. I like being able to go somewhere and do work at a location. I feel like I'm more productive when I go to work. Not everybody needs that. Not everybody feels that way. Some people are very comfortable working from home, or working from their car, or working from the coffee shop down the street. So that's kind of cool. I mean, you're totally up to you. You don't have to have an office space. Some brokerages offer office space or make that available to you. Some brokerages don't. So it just depends on you, your personality, and what you feel like is going to help you be the most productive. Um, you can wear whatever you want for the most part. There are some, and it varies by brokerage, maybe. Some brokerages are maybe much more formal, and so they want you, dressed to the nines every day. If you're going to be, representing them in public or coming into the office, they would prefer you be a little gussied up, as I say. But for the most part, you can wear what you want. If your thing is shorts and a t-shirt, go for it. Just know that, some of your prospective clients will, you know, make a judgment call based on our appearance, right? I mean, we've all lived with that, I think, our entire lives. And so, I've always felt like I was most comfortable dressing in a way that, for me, it's always been jeans and a button up. That's what I'm in now. So jeans and a button up. Hardly ever wear a jacket. Almost never wear a tie. Very, very informal. I refer to myself as casual and fun and friendly, not corporate, if you will, right? Even though I'm a manager, I'm not corporate. So, um, I think there's a lot of freedom and flexibility in your attire. So you just want to make sure that you're paired up with a brokerage that feels the way you do about the way you present yourself and the way you represent your company or your brokerage in public. So that's a good point. You don't need a college degree. That's kind of cool. So the educational barrier to entry is low. All you need is a high school diploma. And you need, of course, the pre-licensing education, and you need to pass the test. And then you are just as much a realtor as I am. So congratulations. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I strongly believe it is a equal opportunity industry. Almost anyone with a high school diploma, if they apply themselves, can get through the test and get that license and begin to market themselves and the services they are willing to provide to the public in exchange for compensation or commission. So I think that's pretty cool. You are effectively your own boss, which again, one of the great things about real estate is you're your own boss. One of the terrible things about real estate is you are your own boss, right? Because nobody's going to call and say, "Hey, you're not here. It's 9 o'clock. Where are you?" That's not going to happen, unless maybe you join a team or something like that, and we can talk about that in a few minutes. But maybe you've signed up for a model where they do that sort of thing. But in large part, most of the time, nobody's going to be looking over your shoulder. No one's going to be watching the time clock. Did Sally come to work today? Did Jason work till 5 o'clock yesterday? Nobody's doing that. Nobody's checking on you. Nobody's looking over your shoulder. Nobody's wondering, where you are or what you're doing necessarily when it comes to, providing the services of real estate. So it's good and it's bad. So you have to be a self-starter. You have to be self-disciplined. You have to be able to self-motivate. If you can't, there's a good chance you won't make it. Honestly, and that's the unfortunate truth. Is I think lack of self-discipline is the reason. 87% of people who get a license don't renew it. I'll just pause right there for a dramatic effect. It's true. 87% of real estate agents won't renew their license in a couple of years after getting it. So the failure rate in this industry is incredibly high. And I think it's self-discipline is where a lot of people struggle. They can't force themselves to pick up the phone, to make those phone calls and remind everybody that, hey, this is Jason. I'm in real estate, right? I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's what it takes, I think, to be successful. Is it takes a relentless mindset, which will you have to tell people you're in real estate, right? You can't be a secret agent. You have to be a very, very public agent. You have to let everybody know that you're in real estate. You should never leave the home without your business cards and your name tag on so that people know you're in real estate. You can provide them a very, very beneficial service. So really, really, really important. So you start at zero every day, right? So That's one of the biggest things I think for people to get past. We talked about it a little bit, but every day when you wake up, I mean, you have zero. You've made no money that day. You don't get paid just for showing up. Doesn't work that way. And for the most part, this is a commission business. And so if you're not closing deals and helping those buyers and sellers, then you're not getting paid. And so, and you may be spending money every day to market your services, but unless you're closing deals, you're not getting paid. So you start every day from zero. Um, I would encourage everybody to go to multiple brokerages. If you've done what it takes now, you did the 60 hours, you passed the test, and now you've got a license. I would encourage you to go check out two, three, four, maybe five different brokerages because there are so many models, just so many models in Hampton Roads and in this country when it comes to real estate. Maybe you want to join a team. So some models are very, very team centric, team focused, and team oriented, and that's awesome. I love teams. We all love teams. Sometimes the agent feels like they need that additional support, that additional level of control or supervision, and oftentimes teams will have that team leader to help keep someone on track in exchange for offering services to the team. Maybe you're just showing property. Maybe that's your role. Maybe you're just working with buyers and you're a buyer specialist and that's your role. Maybe you come on and you're a listing specialist and that's your role. So teams have done a really good job of breaking this business down into distinct segments and services so that you can focus on one thing. So that's very cool. Maybe you want to go to a brokerage that is more independent minded, where you are, the person responsible for all of those services. And there are, definite pros and cons to each one of these models. So make sure that you go and check out a few different models, is all I can say. Make sure that education is at the top of the list of things that you're looking for. You're looking for training, education, mentorship, coaching. These are the things that should be at the top of your list. Don't make the mistake I did. When I got my license 18 years ago, I went to the company that offered the highest commission split. I thought, that's what everybody would do. Why wouldn't you do that? I had no idea. At the time, I didn't know what I didn't know. And so it didn't take me long to figure out that I had made a huge mistake in going to the company with the highest split because what they didn't offer was the coaching, the training, and the mentorship, and the curriculum, and the plan, and the path, the A to Z. How do I get from where I am to where I want to go? They didn't have that. Basically, they had a desk and a telephone, and they said, "Go get them." And so it didn't work out. It was not a good experience. So don't make that mistake. Make sure if you're going to go out there into the marketplace, you have somebody that's going to show you the way, show you that path from A to Z, where you are to where you're going. How do I get there? And education and training is a huge, huge element of this business, especially when you're new. Things change obviously once you've gotten a lot more experience and you know the path to buying and selling real estate. Um, it becomes a whole lot easier. That's another thing too. I always knew coming into this business that the longer I was in it, the easier it would become, and I think that's true for most of us. I think every real estate agent's goal is to not necessarily have to market themselves and spend money in advertising and marketing and solicitation. Most of us have a goal to be referral based, right? And repeat clients. So repeat clients and referrals, I think is what most of us strive for. So the longer you're in, the easier it becomes. So um, let me see what we got next. Um, activities. So activities. So there's so many activities. I have a whole prospecting clinic that I can share with you. So But just to name a few. So, a lot of people come into this business, and what you're gonna find out is you have to invest time or money marketing yourself. Most people coming into the business don't have a lot of money to invest in marketing themselves. And so they end up spending or investing more time marketing themselves. And so one of the least expensive methods for doing that might be door knocking. I was door knocking, when I came into this business, and I only had the police called on me a few times. Fortunately, I've only been kicked out of a couple of different neighborhoods, and you can meet cool people door knocking. Believe it or not, you know, you're going to meet some not so cool people door knocking as well. But that's one avenue. It's very, very inexpensive. Maybe, yeah, you got your business cards, you got your flyers. Maybe you're passing out a neighborhood market update. How many homes in the neighborhood have sold in the last month? How many homes are listed? What's the average list price? What's the average days on market? What's current interest rate look like? So maybe you're passing out this, what we call an item of value in a community. And you're obviously introducing yourself while you're doing that. It's a great idea. It doesn't cost a whole lot of money. Cost time, obviously. Cold calling, telephone. Man, I'm telling you, there are some very, very, very successful real estate agents who to this day, build their business cold calling. Maybe calling a neighborhood or a community, saying, "Hey, did you know that 123 Main Street just went on the market? Do you, by any chance, know of anybody that would like to move into the neighborhood? No. What about you? Have you had any thoughts of selling recently?" Right. So cold calling, you can certainly do that. You can call people who are selling their homes by owner, for sale by owner. You can call people who had previously listed their home with a real estate agent, but that listing agreement expired. So that would be an expired listing. You could certainly do that. But the telephone, man, I'm telling you, the telephone is one of the most biggest, popular, least expensive tools you can use to build a business, specifically a real estate business. So, um, online leads. So, online leads is a huge, huge. I mean, this was a game changer. I did personally extremely well buying online leads from Zillow and Realtor.com, Homes.com, and Market Leader, and a few others. And so, while it's really expensive, that industry of selling online leads has gotten extremely competitive. It is also very effective, and that's why there's so much competition, which drives up the cost, right? Supply and demand, just like real estate. Online leads, supply and demand. The better they are, the more competitive they are, thus the higher the prices seem to go. But I mean, if you're buying Zillow leads or Realtor.com leads, you might pay a couple $100 just to talk to somebody on the phone. Whereas if you do a Google pay-per-click lead system, or maybe which I think Market Leader does, maybe you do a Facebook lead ad. Maybe you could get to talk to somebody on the phone for a couple bucks. Somebody that has expressed an interest in either buying or selling real estate. So when I say somebody, that's what I mean, right? That's a lead. A lead to me is someone who has expressed interest in either buying, selling, or learning about buying and selling real estate. Those are the people that I don't know yet. Those are leads in my world, and hopefully the brokerage that you go to will provide you with a CRM or a contact relationship manager. It's your online database. So if I could offer any advice to someone coming to this business, I would say, even if you haven't even gone to school yet, start right now. Start today. As soon as I finish this video, you need to start writing down and collecting names, addresses, phone numbers, and email addresses of everybody that you can think of, so that when you do get your real estate license, you can announce yourself to that audience as a realtor. That's one of the things that we do quite often at our company. We send out those announcement cards, we send out those announcement emails, and we want to let the whole world know that, hey, this person has just gotten a real estate license. So if you have real estate questions, be sure to reach out to your friend, your colleague, your associate who can answer those real estate related questions. So I think that's it, guys. This actually ended up being a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, so I apologize. Hopefully, I've given you some food for thought, some information that you can use here. If this was helpful in any way, please give me a thumbs up, give me a comment, give me something, give me a heart, so that I know this has been beneficial to you. So, that being said, you guys have a fantastic week. If you need me, you know how to get me. I'm always here, always available, always happy to help. Call me, text me, email me. See ya.